Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So let us begin with a flip through of the month of September in my Hobonichi Cousin. Now September was like an okay month for me, like I used it, but there are certain days that I was not very consistent with it. But largely I think I have at least got back to planning considering the planner funk that I was in for the last few months as such. So this is my yearly spread in which I track my income since I have multiple sources of income, and this has been going consistent, I would say, throughout the year. I think I really enjoy doing this and I will definitely continue it for next year. This was something that I began doing in 2022. I have not done it before, and it has worked out great for me because I have multiple sources of income and I do not receive from all every month. Like in June I did not have any income at all because mine is not a consistent source, so this keeps me on track. So I really love this idea. Of course I don't have any particular need for the previous year or the next year, but it is there. Then when we come to the index as such, I use it exactly as that, like an index for my daily pages, and this has been going good too because last year I tried it as a habit tracker and it was a disaster. It did not work out for me. I think it was more of the fact that I had to flip to this page several times in a day when I'm habit tracking, which clearly I forgot to do and I just did not follow through with it. So I know many people do that, but it did not work out for me. But this is going great because it is an index for my daily pages where I journal a lot, and then I do not know where to find something because I've written a lot on some of the spreads. On some spreads there is next to nothing, but this helps me because, as you can see, some spaces have been left blank because either I have not journaled much on those days or there's not something extremely relevant enough to come over here. But there are other things that are very important which I've noted down over here, so I've not exactly filled it up. Again, this is something I enjoy doing this year, so I'll probably continue with it for next year. I'm looking for more ideas on how I can improve the index, but so far I like it how it is going so far. Just to be clear, I don't update it every day. What I do is at the end of the month I just quickly go through my daily spreads. I have highlighted over there some of the main topics. I just run through it and whichever is important I transfer it over here. So it's not like I have to repeatedly do this every day of a month. It's just once in a month whenever I feel like doing it, generally on the last day of the month or somewhere near the last day. Now let us come to the monthly spreads. These are the spreads from where I start using bookmarks. I don't have one of these other covers, so I don't have the bookmarks that are there in the covers. I use these bookmarks from Erin Condren. I am looking for other ones because these tend to leave these sort of marks on the paper. I don't think it is a big deal because I've noticed that once I remove it and shift to other days, the marks start, getting flatter. So it's not a big issue for me, but I would prefer that I can have bookmarks which don't leave such marks. I have tried the Midori ones already, so I would prefer other suggestions because I found them to be too small in the sense that, and they are nice but not that great. I like these because I have 3 different colors. They stand out clearly, showing the different spreads they are placed on. So this one does not have a title, but I use it for the monthly spreads. The other 2 have clear titles. One is to do and I think the other one is today. So the today one I use for daily pages and it's a different color. The to do is for the weekly spreads as such. So I think it works perfectly for me. I am looking for other ones. If I don't find, I will probably continue with these same ones for next year as well. Now let's come to the monthly spread. I think this was one of the monthlies that were well used. Throughout the year, my monthly spreads are something that I have been consistent with, unlike the others, because this is like an overview of the month for me. So it includes pre-planning, but also a lot of added information which I can refer back to later once I go through the months again. So I don't have to go through all the spreads in the planner. I could just look into my monthly, find out what happened on what day, and then if I want to see more details I can go to my other spreads as such. So let us just quickly go through the spread so that it is clear to you what or how I have been using it. Now, as always, I have made another video on how I use my Hobonichi Cousin where I go in detail about this. Feel free to check that out, but let us begin from here quickly. Okay, so I have a washi over here, which is the same washi that I've used for all the months to cover up the days that are not part of the month. Then what I have in the monthly spreads are birthdays, anniversaries as such, which I have pre-planned for the whole year. So you will see these corner stickers whenever there are birthdays or anniversaries, and that helps me to, wish that person, because I don't remember them on my own. I just have to have it written somewhere. And also a lot of circle stickers, as you can see, which indicate a number of things for me, my period, my certain events as such. I have a key for this at the back of the planner, but I really don't need it now. I remember what that indicates, so that is not an issue for me. Then there is my social media tracking. So I'm there on YouTube and Instagram. Frankly, I'm not at all consistent on Instagram. I rarely use it. This month was not great with uploads, but at least I uploaded twice on YouTube this month and posted, I think, around 3 or 4 times on Instagram. And accordingly, I have written my numbers. Now, see, the numbers are not a big matter for me, but the thing is, I want to see how my being consistent or inconsistent affects it. So I think that helps me get an idea of how I'm going with things. And other than that, there are, of course, my spending. When I say spending, I'm specifically referring to stationery, because that is where I overspend. I do not have any other categories in my life which I waste money on. I'm not saying I waste money on stationery, but sometimes I tend to go overboard. And as you can see over here, in one day I have bought from 3 stationery shops this month, and on one day, and of course on another day I have got from another one. So September was a month where I shopped a lot as far as stationery is concerned. Yes, it is a lot, but at the same time, a big part of it, in fact, a large part of it is because it's for my YouTube channel. The rest is the smaller part is for myself personally. And as far as I'm concerned, I know I have not spent on the other months. So it's fine with me that I've spent a lot in September, but yes, I could have gone a little lower than this, but it's fine with me. So what I do is, when I spend on stationery, I always note it down on that month, and I just note down which shop I have bought from. So you can see over here on the 2nd, I've ordered from Hobonichi, Sterling Ink and the Angel Shop. And of course on 12th from Erin Condren as such. So it is clear to me how much I've shopped that month, so that I don't repeat buy unnecessarily from the same shop. So that is something I try to avoid as such. I'm not going into the details of that, but I think I'm doing pretty decent, considering I think I have next to not bought at all any stationery this year. Anyway, let's go ahead. The next thing, what I usually have are monthly bills. As far as this month is concerned, I just realized that while doing this video, I have not updated my bills over here. So there are smaller circle stickers which I use to update the monthly bills, and I write down the amount as well. As far as I'm concerned, I write down the day that I paid it on, not the deadline. So that is what comes over here as well. Then there are random events, okay? Now there is random events that come up. This is not particularly color coded as such, it's just a random color. I want them to stand out on the spread so I know what is happening as such. So there are random events that come up which are important to me, that come up on the spread in a random highlight color as such. So that's about it. I think I've covered the monthly spread completely. And there is something, yes, I've started a driving class. I do not know driving. I know, embarrassing, I'm quite old, but anyway, so here we are. I've started my driving classes, so I'm on my 5th day as far as 30th of September is concerned, which is actually today, the day that I'm recording it. In any case, this is my monthly spread. I'm extremely satisfied with it. My monthlies generally go good for me, but this month in particular was good. So let us go ahead to the weekly spreads. So this is my to-do bookmark. I hope you can see it, okay? And yes, this is the weekly spread of September. Again, I think I started off pretty well. So at the top I have my me time section, then my to-do, and then of course the events. The left hand side is completely for habit tracking, which is hair care, skin care, sleep, and the top part I have my drinking tracker. Drinking has not been going that great in terms of water intake, because there are some days, as you can see, its water intake is quite. But see, this tracking gives me an idea of it, so I'm quite happy with that. Hair care, skincare is going great. Sleep, yes and no. I'm somewhere, I have great timings when you look at it, 6 hours, 7 hours, so I'm quite proud of myself considering that sometimes I have only 3 hours or next to nothing. But I want to have a more consistent time, like, maybe something like 10 to 5 or something like that. The time that I go to sleep is completely random. Sometimes it is 12 to something, then I just don't like it. Anyway, let's come back to my me time section. So here I'm supposed to have two things. One is my Bible reading, and the other one is of course a general reading of any novels, non-fiction, fiction categories. But this time I just included the Bible reading because this was an extremely busy month. I somehow just skipped the reading part of it, and I didn't want to write something and then not complete it. I just didn't write it because I knew it was not going to happen as such. My to-do list section has been going great. Nothing much to explain over here. I tick off if I've completed it, it's a cross if I have not. Events, just to be clear, I am not an extrovert by the number of events that you see over here. These are church events. I need to have a note of them, not that I go for all of them. I'm there for most of them, and I should be aware of that because I'm part of a committee. So this is very important for me, the time where it takes place. That is why I track it over here. Then let's go ahead to the other spreads. It's more or less the same thing throughout. So I think I have been quite consistent with using it, as you can see over here. Not great, as you can see, some days it's not that I didn't do anything that day, but I've not written it down. Now it's kind of decreasing over the weeks, as you can see over here. This is the last week, and here is the problem. I completely dropped out on me time this week, which was extremely sad. It's not that I didn't read the Bible, just to be clear. This is a specific type of reading where I'm going according to the themes of the Bible, and I didn't do it this week, sadly. So I want to get back to it by covering this week and the next week, maybe next week. But as far as my regular Bible reading goes, it is never mentioned here, but I just read as much as I can, or depending on the morning time or the night time that I go to read it. The rest of the things also not very active, but this is somewhat my last week of September. Of course, I have not completed it because I'm still on the last week. Then let's come to the next thing. Now this is where my daily spread begins. If you remember from my previous flip through, I had not poured water, it was accidental, but yes, this was a mess. I don't know whether you have any ideas for getting this corrected. Once what I did is I used whiteout and I wrote over it again, okay, just to clear this off. This time I did not really do anything, I directly wrote over it. But there are better ways, to avoid this mess. It would be good if you can suggest it, because I think this was a neat enough page, but that went into disaster. So let's come to my dashboard page for September. Now for dashboards, what I often do is use something, note something down which I found funny or an interesting quote. I do not really use it in an extremely functional way, but I like to go back and read on this because I find it quite interesting. Now this is what I did for this month. I had a stencil. I don't have any artistic talent, just to be clear. Okay, so this is from a stencil. And then I got this line: I don't broadcast every high and I don't hide every low. I am trying to live. I'm not trying to convince the world I have a life. I think that was very relevant in the current situation of social media where everything is posted on social media. So anyway, I'm not going to lecture anyone on that. That is your personal decision. So this is where my dailies start. Now, most of the months I decorated my dailies in some way or the other with stickers. This month, like the previous month, I was extremely lazy and I did not decorate it. This was a sticker that should have been cut off into several pieces, but I was lazy and I just put on the entire sheet over here just as it is. I did not divide it into several stickers. So you will notice that my spreads do not have any decorative aspect as such. I directly start with writing down, journaling about my days. Now this is what a normal day would look like to me when I have journaled well. As you can see, I've journaled a lot, but then I write a little bold when it comes to the titles of that specific para. The benefit of this is I can easily find something when I look for it, because last year I did not do this and it was quite difficult for me to find something about which I knew I had written, but I just couldn't find it because I had written a lot and it was difficult for me to look it up. So this is something that I do this year, where I write, then I try to write the main topic in bigger letters so that it stands out as such. As you can see, I am not very consistent with using the whole spread, but at least I was writing what I felt was important for that day, so I'm quite happy about it. This was the second half of that sticker sheet. Again, like I said, I didn't actually sticker it out throughout the dailies. And yes, some are blank, some have been used very little, some are used a lot more in comparison. I've reached a point in my life where this really doesn't bother me. I know that many people are bothered by the blank pages. I don't know, weirdly I'm not bothered by it now. Earlier I think I used to be, but not so much now. There's a lot of blank pages, as you can see over here, in comparison to the fact that I use the weeklies a lot. So this is where we come towards the end. Of course, I have not updated these two because I'm still around these days when I'm filming this video. I will probably have more to write on 30, maybe nothing over here. So this is the last of it as far as September is concerned. Now coming towards the end, just to be clear, I have the spread at the back which is called my library. Now here I update about the books that I've read, but just to be clear, I'll be removing this off because it was not in the month of September. I accidentally wrote the wrong month, I think. What did I just do over here? I'm pretty sure it was not September, it was October. Not October, sorry, August. I think I have to correct this. Yes, this I have not read. I was supposed to read it, but I did not read it. So this is where I am as far as my book reading goes. What I do is I have a list of books for the year. Most are from the Goodreads book list. And what I do below it is I give it a certain number of stars depending on how much I liked it. See, it's my personal thing. I may not like a certain category. It's not that the book is bad or extremely good. Then I just do this bar sort of thing depending on how much I have read and the number of pages. Okay. In some situations, if I have not read it at all, the bar remains blank. If I've left it halfway, again halfway. Then the category of the book, the type of book that I've read, the month that I've read it in. So I have to correct this one. I don't know how I wrote September for that. I'm not really worried about this because I think I have only 5 books left to read for this year, and there are 3 months left. The coming 3 months are generally when I have more time. So I'm not really worried about completing my book list. I think I'll be able to complete it, and I don't give myself a lot more work than I can complete. So obviously I don't have a big number of books. I don't read much in a year nowadays, but I'm glad for completing whatever little I could. It's not much, I know that, but it's fine with me. So I'm quite happy with how things have been going. But obviously this will be a lot more difficult for me because these are in French. And I want to read them to improve my language learning, but I do not know how that will turn out. Anyway, so that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the flip through, guys. How have your months been going as far as September is concerned? Did you use your planner well, or are you more interested in setting up next year's planner? Let me know in the comments below. Bye.